two real solutions. Let's do one, another quadratic formula problem here. How about solve x squared plus 4x plus 11 equals 7. Well, I gotta get it into this form. Remember, it's got to look like this before I even start doing this thing, all right? It's got to be in standard form there. So I subtract 7, subtract 7. Don't forget that. X squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. And then we go ahead and we can plug this into the quadratic formula. A is 1, B is 4, C is 4, right? Sing your little tune. And then plug it in. Negative, our B is 4. Again, B is 4 minus 4. Our A was 1. Our C was also 4. And our A was 1. Okay. Hey, you notice you got the square root of 0? Well, square root of 0 is 0. So you got negative 4 plus minus 0 over 2. In other words, negative 4 over 2, because negative 4 plus 0 is, of course, negative 4. Negative 4 minus 0 is negative 4. Either way, there's your answer. X equals negative 2. Okay? Now, you see how this b squared minus 4ac, in this case, that b squared minus 4ac ended up being 0. Okay? Your discriminant was 0. B squared minus 4ac was 0. Well, what happened? When we get a b squared minus 4ac that's 0, how many answers did we get? We got one answer, one real solution. So one real solution is what happens when your discriminant equals 0. In this case, of course, our answer, x equals negative 2. All right? Let's try one more here. One more quadratic formula problem. How about x squared minus 4x equals negative 8. Make sure you get that one side equal to 0 before you even start this, right? There it is. What's our A? A is 1. B is negative 4. C is 8. Go to town. X equals negative B minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Our B is negative 4. Oops, plus minus. Of course, right here you've got the imaginary square root of negative 16. You see that square root of negative 1 underneath there? So you got 4i, don't you? From last time, from the last discussion that we had. So you got 4 plus or minus 4i all over 2. And those are your two answers. 4 plus or minus 4i all over 2. And, oops, sorry about that. I didn't finish that, did I? Notice that 2 goes into each of those, right? So 4 over 2 plus or minus 4i over 2. That 2 is a common denominator, so you got 2 plus or minus 2i. Sorry about that. Finish that off there, okay? So you notice, what do you notice about the discriminant on this one? Your b squared minus 4ac, that discriminant here is negative, negative 16. How many solutions did we get? Well, we got two solutions, 2 plus 2i, 2 minus 2i. And what type? Imaginary. Both of them are imaginary solutions, okay? So when b squared minus 4ac is negative, you have two imaginary or complex solutions, okay? All right, let's do a quick application problem here, and then we'll call this section good here. A diver jumps. Say we got this problem. A diver jumps from a height of 40 feet above the water with an initial velocity of 4 feet per second. Okay, so this diver jumps from 40 feet above the water. Here's this diver jumping, right? So his initial height is 40 feet above the water, and then he has an initial velocity of 4 feet per second. So an initial velocity of 4 feet per second. Okay, that h subscript 0 means initial height, that v subscript 0 means initial velocity. So the question becomes, when you're using this model, negative 16t squared plus v subscript 0t plus h subscript 0. Again, this is initial height. Initial height. That right there, that v subscript 0, that's your initial velocity. This is your height after time t. Okay? That's your height after time t. So your time here is in seconds, okay? So like, let's say after 1 second, you would be, you know, somewhere below 40 feet. You'd be closer to that water, wouldn't you? Okay? So it says, for how long is the diver in the air, right? How long is he in the air, right? How long does it take him to dive in the air there before we hit a height? Of course, what's his height when you hit the water? He started at a height of 40, right? So we started at a height of 40. We had an initial velocity of 4 feet per second. How much time t till we hit the water, right? Where we're at a height of 0. This is a height of 0 here. So you can go through and you can say, well, t now is negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then you plug in a, b, and c. Of course, our b here is 4. Our a is negative 16. Our c is 40. You start simplifying this thing and you end up with negative 4 plus minus, let's see, that ends up being 2576 when I take this 16 minus this number there, okay, all over negative 32. And then you separate each of those. So t is negative 4 plus square root 2576 all over negative 32. T is negative 4 minus square root 2576 all over negative 32. Okay? So this one ends up being, if you punch that in, 0.71 seconds. And this one ends up being negative 1.46 seconds. Negative 1.46 seconds. So I can't have two times here, right? So which one would it have to be? Well, it's got to be that one, right? That makes sense. 1.71 seconds till he hits the water. It's not going to be negative 1.46 seconds, is it? So that one makes sense. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the classwork.